copy that. So the Indiana Fever come into here after losing 3 of those.
With just 6 games left on the calendar, the Indiana Fever know there's no more room for error. Every single possession now carries the weight of an entire season. Tonight's clash wasn't just basketball, it was survival. Facing off against the Los Angeles Sparks, another squad clawing desperately for the same playoff seat, the Fever walked into a battle that felt more like a war zone than a game. And from the opening whistle, you could feel the tension exploding across the floor. The Sparks didn't just show up, they rolled out the Hollywood red carpet and blasted off to a scorching 7-0 start that had the Fever on their heels. But that was only the beginning. What followed was 94 feet of pure chaos. Steals, rejections, bodies flying, tempers flaring, and a nail-biting finish that had every single fan on the edge of their seat. Buckle up, because what we're diving into right now might just go down as the Fever's most heart-stopping showdown of the season. The Sparks wasted no time making their presence felt, hitting the Fever with a 7-0 opening run that looked more like a statement than just points on the board. Hollywood's finest came out swinging, using crisp ball movement, a couple of perfectly timed screens, and some ruthless finishing to seize control early. The Fever, caught on their back foot, needed an answer fast. And that's when Odyssey Sims and Lexi Hull stepped up to flip the script. Sims ripped the ball clean out of the Sparks' hands, pushing the tempo like her life depended on it, while Lexi anticipated a passing lane perfectly to grab her own steal. In a blink, what looked like an early knockout punch from LA turned into momentum for Indiana. Sims raced coast to coast, finishing a silky left-handed layup through traffic, sending a jolt of energy through her teammates. Hull followed it up with a crafty dish that gave the Fever easy points in transition. The game instantly turned into a blur of chaos, missed shots, bodies colliding, and both teams throwing haymakers without much connecting. But the silence wouldn't last long. Once the lid came off the rim, the buckets poured in on both sides. Aliyah Boston muscled her way through the paint, showing off her size with a smooth up and under against Dearica Hamby. Azura Stevens answered back with a deep triple, and Rakia Jackson snuck in a quick layup. Back and forth, blow for blow, the first quarter already felt like a heavyweight fight where neither side was willing to blink. As the first quarter wore on, the Sparks refused to let their early punch go to waste. Ray Burrell drilled a deep corner 3 right before the buzzer, stretching the lead back out and silencing the Fever's comeback energy in one cold-blooded shot. After 10 minutes of grueling play, Louisiana held the edge 31-24, and the tone was set. This was going to be a dogfight. The second quarter only cranked the intensity higher. Kelsey Plum, cool and calculated, attacked Aliyah Boston straight downhill, finishing off balance on the wrong foot to keep the Sparks ahead. But Odyssey Sims wasn't backing down. She spun through contact and floated one softly over the defense, a highlight move that screamed veteran composure. That play lit a fire under Indiana, who slowly started clawing their way back into striking distance. Frustration, though, wasn't just in the Fever's hands. Plum tried to body up Kelsey Mitchell on the next trip, but when the whistle stayed silent, Mitchell stormed down the lane and dropped in a tough layup anyway. Her fire didn't stop there. She barked at the officials for the no call, drawing a technical foul in the process. The crowd erupted, sensing the temperature of this game had just gone from hot to boiling. The Sparks struck right back as Stevens and Hamby pounded the paint, while Plum showcased her reverse layup package, scoring twice in a row to keep Indiana from stealing the lead. Back and forth they went, trading baskets like heavyweight boxers trading hooks, until Plum capped the half with a wide-open triple that gave LA a 47-42 cushion heading into the locker room. When the Fever came storming out of the locker room, it was clear they weren't about to let this slip away without a fight. Aliyah Boston set the tone immediately, bullying her way inside off a high-low feed and finishing with authority. Then, surrounded by 3 defenders, she calmly hit a hook shot right in their faces, a reminder that Indiana's paint belongs to her. That sequence sparked a shift in momentum, and suddenly, the Sparks looked rattled. With 7 minutes still left in the third, Lexi Hull attacked baseline, contorted her body mid-air, and flipped in a circus-style reverse layup that had the Fever's bench exploding. Just like that, Indiana was back in the driver's seat. From there, the Fever kept their foot on the accelerator. Nalissa Smith showcased her footwork, spinning Azura Stevens into the floor for a smooth bucket, and Grace Berger chipped in with hustle plays that kept possessions alive. The Fever were swarming on defense, turning the Sparks' clean first-half execution into rush shots and turnovers. Yet, Louisiana wasn't folding. Rickea Jackson slashed to the rim with her usual force, muscling through contact for a clutch layup to reclaim the lead late in the quarter. It was clear both squads were done feeling each other out. This was now pure survival mode. As the horn sounded to end the third, the scoreboard barely separated them, and the building buzzed with anticipation. Everyone knew the fourth quarter would come down to who wanted it more, and the Fever had blood in their eyes. The final quarter opened like a powder keg ready to blow. Odyssey Sims, who had been relentless all night, carved through the Sparks' defense yet again. She lost control of the ball for a split second, but Timmy Fagbenlay scooped it up and immediately found Lexi Hull parked in the corner. Without hesitation, Lexi let it fly and drilled the three. The Fever's bench exploded, momentum firmly on their side. But just as Indiana started to surge, Los Angeles unleashed their secret weapon. Cameron Brink, the 6'4" rookie, finally put her stamp on the game. She attacked the rim with a smooth spin, finishing with her left hand, and then made her presence felt on defense with a towering rejection on Kelsey Mitchell's layup attempt. In an instant, the Sparks reminded everyone they weren't going away. The two sides went back and forth, trading blows like prize fighters. Stevens powered her way through Lexi for a bucket, Sims responded with a soft runner in the lane, and Plum kept LA's hopes alive by burying tough jumpers under pressure. The game was tied at 60, but neither side flinched. Every possession felt like it carried the weight of the season. With time ticking down, Azura Stevens saved the Sparks with a contested three-pointer right in Nalissa Howard's face, a dagger that sucked the air out of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Still, the Fever refused to fold. Sims and Boston stormed the rim to keep Indiana alive, showing once again that no matter how many punches they took, they weren't about to back down in front of their home crowd. With just minutes left on the clock, the tension in the building felt unbearable. Every trip down the court mattered, and neither team blinked. Julia Alamone slipped behind the defense for a crafty backdoor score, putting the Sparks in front and sending a hush through the Fever faithful. But before LA could even get set, Sims wasted no time pushing the pace, threading a bullet pass to Aliyah Boston, who muscled her way through contact for the answer. The crowd roared, but the Sparks struck back. Spotting Sims on her hip, Azura Stevens went full power mode, backing her down and forcing in an and one off the glass, her scream echoing through the arena as the foul was called. Indiana looked rattled until Nalissa Howard calmed everyone with a perfect ball fake that sent Stevens flying, only to miss the floater that would have tied it. Hamby corralled the rebound, and when the Sparks ran a flawless back screen, she slipped free for an uncontested bucket to give LA breathing room. The Fever huddled, regrouped, and once again turned to their anchor. Boston got deep post position, fought off two defenders, and delivered a clutch layup to cut it to 1. Then came the dagger moment, or so it seemed. Alamone turned the corner, caught Kelsey Mitchell flat-footed, and slashed to the rim for a clean finish. The Sparks were up 3, and the clock was bleeding away. But Indiana had one more card to play, and Odyssey Sims held it in her hands. Down 3 with under a minute to play, the Fever placed their trust in Kelsey Mitchell. She tried to create space, but the Sparks' defense swarmed instantly, forcing her into a double team. Just when it looked like the possession was doomed, Mitchell slipped the ball to the wide-open Odyssey Sims on the wing. Time froze. Sims rose with confidence, launched the 3, and bang! Nothing but net. Gainbridge erupted, a wall of sound shaking the rafters as Indiana clawed back to tie it at 74. The Sparks called timeout, regrouped, and went right back to their bread and butter. They trapped Plum on a pick and roll, but the scramble left Hamby with the ball under the rim. She missed the first chance, yet Stevens came crashing in, snatching the offensive board and drawing the foul on the putback. Tension cut through the air as she stepped to the line. First free throw good. Second off, the iron. The door cracked open for Indiana. With less than 30 seconds left, Kelsey Mitchell pulled up from deep, hunting the dagger, but the shot clanged long. Chaos followed as players fought for the rebound. The ball bounced loose, somehow landing in the steady hands of Sims. She darted into the paint, absorbed the contact, and floated it high off the glass. Swish! The Fever had seized the lead, and the arena shook like an earthquake. Yet, with 13.6 seconds left, they still needed one final stop to lock in a season-defining victory. The Sparks had one final chance to flip the script. Down by a single point with 13.6 seconds on the clock, they inbounded to Rickea Jackson, hoping she could create magic. But the Fever defense was locked in, switching every screen, closing every window. Jackson tried to turn the corner, but Nelissa Howard stuck to her like glue, forcing her into a dead end. With the shot clock bleeding and panic setting in, Jackson fired an emergency pass toward Kelsey Plum. The ball slipped through her hands. For a split second, the arena gasped as Plum lunged, desperately trying to recover. But Aliyah Boston was already there, rising above the chaos, snatching the ball out of the sky like it was destined to land in her hands. The steal sent the Fever bench leaping in celebration, the crowd roaring so loud it felt like the roof would come off Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Indiana didn't just survive, they ripped this win straight from the jaws of defeat. As the buzzer sounded, players swarmed Boston, Sims, and Mitchell. Their clutch plays cementing what may go down as the Fever's grittiest win of the season. The Sparks, stunned and silent, could only walk off knowing they had let their best shot slip away. For Indiana, though, it was more than just a win. It was proof they had the heart, toughness, and grit to stand tall when everything was on the line. When the dust finally settled, this wasn't just another tally in the win column, it was a statement. The Fever had stared down elimination vibes, felt the Sparks breathing down their necks, and still found a way to claw back when everything seemed stacked against them. Odyssey Sims was nothing short of heroic, putting the team on her back in the most critical moments, while Aliyah Boston anchored both ends like a true franchise cornerstone. Kelsey Mitchell's fire lit the spark, Lexi Hull's grit kept the wheels turning, and the role players did all the little things that don't show up in the box score, but decide who wins and who loses. On the flip side, the Sparks had their chances. Burrell's hot shooting, Stevens' size, Hamby's hustle, and Plum's playmaking kept LA alive all night, but the fumble in the final possession will sting for weeks. And that's what makes this win so massive for Indiana. With just 6 games left on the schedule, every night feels like a playoff game, and stealing this one could be the difference between packing up early or crashing the postseason party. For the Fever, it's not about flashy highlights or empty stats anymore, it's about survival. And tonight, survival came in the form of heart, grit, and one unforgettable stop. The Indiana Fever didn't just walk away with a win, they walked away with belief. In a season where every game feels like the difference between survival and collapse, this battle against the Sparks proved they have the resilience to bend but never break. Odyssey Sims was clutch when it mattered most. Aliyah Boston once again showed why she's the anchor of this franchise, and Kelsey Mitchell's fire gave them the edge when the game was slipping away. For the Sparks, the sting of this loss will linger, but for Indiana, it's fuel to keep climbing, to keep fighting, and to prove that no matter the opponent, they won't back down. With the postseason hanging in the balance, this wasn't just a victory, it was a statement that the Fever are still here, still dangerous, and ready to shake up the playoff race.